So boy mine mirav Nachman bar Yitzchak. So here we have question Mascir bias lechavero. So you rent out your house to your friend on the 14th. Al mi livdok, who should do the bedikas chometz. Al hamaskir livdok the chamer tidehu. It's his chometz chamira, which we say in that al chamira. So that's chometz. It's the chometz of the baladira. Or Dilma al Hasocher livdok to Isura Burushutekai. Because now that he's taken possession of the apartment, now it's in his Rishus. So if you've been following anything, so therefore the Kasha of the Kibbutz Urim, Kasha de Leperish Rashi, the time why do we have the Bedika at all according to Rashi? It's because of Bali Roya. So if so, Peshita, it's al the Mashkir to do the Bedika. Right, so since the Bali Roya, who owns the Chometz, the Maskir owns the Chometz, that's what the Gemara says. So again, it's basically the guy, let's say you move into a Airbnb on the 14th and there's Chometz there. So it's not your Chometz, it's the Baladira's Chometz. To do the Bedika, and even if there's no Chometz there, you have to do the Bedika to see if there's Chometz there. Or clean it out, whatever. So it's the Maskir, so since the whole Isser, according to Rashi, is Bali Roa, so then it's obvious that the Maskir has to do it. Because he's Bali Roa is you can't own Chometz on Pesach. But the Das Toisvis the Tam Hu Misham Tukala Shelo Yivor le'echolo. So that Toisvis says that maybe you'll find it during the Chag and therefore you're going to eat it. So therefore the whole Batika is only eating it. The Maskir is not going to eat it. The landlord's not going to eat the food and someone there now he's rented out the apartment. So therefore it's the Socher has to do the Ala Socher live dog. Right, so seemingly the Vern Peshutim that like what's going on according to Rashi. Now for Toisvis it's not so bad, which we'll see, but going on this, so also here Toisvis ein lefarish. So al hamashker livdok. Why does the masker have to do the bedika? Don't explain that the reason is because it's his, and the and just because it's his isn't the reason. It's because ein adam yichol levatel elohu. So the soicher can't mevatel the chometz of the masker. And therefore, hu chayev livdok, because therefore the masker has to be there, because Toisus is on the tzad of al masker livdok. So therefore, since the soicher can't be mevatel the chometz of the masker, therefore he has to do the bedika. That's not the reason, says Toisus, because if so, why does it say hamasker lechaver on the 14th? Even on the 13th, it'd be exactly the same din. Yischayev hamasker mahai taima livdok. So Toisus explained the question that since it's on the 14th itself, we've already gone past Shkia of the 14th, and therefore arises the Shaila. So Tashema, Hamashkir Bais Lechavero, Al Hasoicher Lasot Lo Mezuzah. So when you rent out your house, it's the Soicher that has to do the mezuzah, not the maskir. So Chamir de Chametz sheba beis shalohu. The chametz is in his house because it's of the maskir. Reshutei v'harei habayis shalo. Now the soicher is taking possession. La asot lo mezuzah alma midi the mitzvah aleya ramia. So since we have the mitzvah of mezuzah and we have the mitzvah of bedikas chametz, therefore you have to the soicher just like the soicher has to do the mezuzah. So too the soicher has to do the bedikas chametz. Now this is good for Rashi or Tosfos. This lasot zo mezuzah is tashema.
It's like
Rashi.
It's like Rashi because the soicher, because Rashi says the soicher has to do it. So Hasam who, so the Gemara says Hasam who the Amar Rav Marshashi and mezuzah chuvis hadarhu hachamai. So there it's all the
Rashi says the maskir has to do it. No?
Rashi says that it's on the
maskir.
Spell your
It's the owner.
Yeah.
The owner has to.
Yeah, so it's good for Toisus.
So Tosfos is the.
Very good. Go on.
Sorry.
Go on, Max. Own it, Max. So the Gemara rejects that the mezuzah is a chuvis hadar. So lefi shehu mishmar toy. So Rashi's giving us some chassidus here that the mezuzah, it's your shemir. It's not just a mitzvah. It's keeping you shoimered. And the beisacha nechnas v'yotze ba v'haka b'tichas hamas. So basically, Toises in here, he says l'kach first read the chamir didehu the chala le'achiv b'dika sha'achas koidem hasheicha. So Toises is learning the question that what does it mean the mashker? It's his chometz. It's that once you chal the 14th, then it's on the maskir in order to do it. So once you have shkia of the 14th or tzeitz of the 14th, whatever you want the chiv to chal, since the maskir owned the bias then, and he did the transaction of renting out the apartment already on the 14th, after the 14th, so on the day of the 14th, so therefore it's already chald in his reshus. Umaisi raya mezuzah, even though that the chiv is koidem. See, this is Tosis' whole thing, chiv koidem. So Tosis has here a nice way of learning the mezuzah. Rashi's just learning stam. He said chiv koidem, that the masker owned the house. The masker had a chiv to put the mezuzah up, even though the socher comes in, and the socher is the one who has to put the mezuzah up. So it's ala socher l'sos mezuzah v'dachi the mezuzah choyves adarhu. So that the mezuzah is only if you live there, kloimar. So Tosis says it's a kloimar. It doesn't really mean choyves adar. But even if lo haya maskira, even if the landlord owned the property and he never rented it out, he's still able to be potter from the mezuzah because he wasn't living there. Since he wasn't living there, so he owns 5 apartments and he lives in one of them. So he only has a mezuzah. He's only having a mezuzah in one of them. And if he rents out the other ones, whoever lives there, they're the ones who have to make the mezuzah. Therefore, the bedikas chametz has nothing to do with that. So when you have the hais of al gabei chametz, ilo lo yaschir la'acher yisarech livdok. So he's got chametz in a house. If he rents it out, then if he doesn't rent it out, he doesn't have to put a mezuzah, but he still has to do the bedikas chametz. So now when he does rent it out, you can't learn anything from mezuzah. So now what's our shaila? Hachamai Amar Lahu Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Tanina. We have it in the Brisa. Hamaskir Bais Lechavero. He if im ad shlo masalo maftachois chal arba aser. If before he gave the keys over, then we had the 14th. Then it's on the maskir to do the bedika. And if it's from if once he gave it to him, it's already the 14th. It's on the soicher livdok. So if he gave the keys before the 14th. So then the Socher has to do. So the Socher takes possession on the 13th. The Socher has to do it. But basically, we have the chalas of the chiyuv on the shkia or tzeis of the 14th, and then whoever's holding the keys in the shkia tzeis of the 14th. So then that's where the chiyuv chalas. So now in the end, we're basically saying that. So therefore, since he gave him the keys after tzeis on the 14th, therefore. It's al hamashkir that the maskana of the Gemara is on the maskir in order to the maskir has to do the bedika because he owned the apartment or he owned the keys on shkia of the 14th. That's the maskana of the Gemara.
So sorry, just to clarify, according to Rashi, where Rashi says the
hold on, let's just get the Gemara clear. The Gemara is saying that we have a shot whether it's the masker or the soicher. So the end of the Gemara is whoever's holding the key at shki of the 14th, he is the one who's chayiv in the bedika. So therefore, since the masker is holding the keys on shki at the 14th, and he did the actual rent and gave the guy the keys on the 14th. Let's just make it in the morning for simplicity's sake. So in the morning of the 14th, that's when he gave him the keys. So therefore, since the chal of the chi of bedika is on the 14th, that's when you have to do it. So therefore, the master is still holding the keys. Right. So if he was to do the rent on the 13th, so then the soicher would have to do it. But since he did the rent on the 14th, therefore the master has to do it, and therefore it comes out like Tosis.
Right, I understand. Right, and so that works like Tosos because according to Rashi, the whole reason for the bedika is not finding or seeing chametz in your house.
But Bali or Bali Motzi doesn't mean you won't find it. It means you don't own it.
In the second,
when we're talking about it, it's specifically in the context of owning it, not in the context of just like finding it, because it's not yours. I hear. Yes,
you can't just lock up your stuff in your shed and throw the key away even. Like, you know it's there and it's yours. That's your oiver bali matzah. So Bali is just
Right.
you won't have it. So
Tosfos-
things said. So Tosfos says it's going to master. So this Gemara, going back to the question of the Kuvashurim, yeah, the Gemara is the Tosfos doesn't really have a problem here in this Gemara. Gemara has a shaila. Are we like Rashi or are we like Tosfos? And the Gemara's Torah says we're like Tosfos. The Tosfos doesn't have any problem with
Right.
this Gemara. But l'chayra, Rashi has a kasha on this. This Gemara is a kasha on Rashi.
Wait, but why? Can I just ask? Why is the second raya going like Tosfos? The second raya is going like Rashi, right? Because Rashi's holding that the
Because
Achrayus is
did-
originally on the owner.
No, but they did it on the 14th. So it says Hamaskir beis lachavero if it was imad shalom maser lo mafteach. So he hasn't given the key over. This is our case. Chal Abba Asra. So he hasn't given. So it's there at when 14th Chal's on Shkia.
Right, it
So
falls
then
on- yeah,
the
yeah.
maskir still has the key. So therefore,
And so therefore he
therefore
has
it's his
to-
chiv al hamaskir livdok. So that's that for our question. That's the maskana al hamaskir livdok.
Yeah, but ad shalom maser lo maftechos is like going like because Rashi is saying that like it's on the mezuzah on the mezuzah's achrayus is on the owner before.
But
Just like
it's
here.
different than the mezuzah, I thought we said.
I know, but I'm just saying like
Everyone-
I'm saying like logically, you know. I'm saying like it's like the same achrayus, like the achrayus is on the owner before, just like he holds the achrayus is on the owner to put the mezuzah. So just like here, the achrayus is on the maskir until he hands it over to the into the socher.
No, it's nothing to do with mezuzah because we that was the halvamina to say that it was like a chi of koidem or whatever, and we say no because it's not a chayvus adar, because the chayvus adar is who's actually living there, and if you don't live there, you're not chayv in mezuzah.
Right, but Rashi's not changing his svara just because we're bringing a different case.
But according to Rashi, why is the maskir chayev?
Because it's his achrayus. Because it's his achrayus.
Yeah, so Rashi is so Rashi says it's on the maskir, and Taisus is saying it's on the soicher. So here,
Right, so I'm saying if it was according to Tosfos, then why do you need to hand over the keys? Even if you didn't hand over the keys, the fact that the fact that it's his or whatever,
well, so Rashi here, Masir mafteya hu kinyan ha schirus. So once you give over the key, then you have the kinyan on schirus. Imad shalom maser mafteach nechnas leil arba asr. So if before you gave the key over came an asr chala chayvis habedika ala maskir she'adayin hayis b'reshuso. So it's still in his reshus. Afal shemaser lo biyom kavar chala chayvalav. So Taisus Perish Rashi, they gave over the keys. So that's what the Kinyan. Ve'ein nira le'ri. Le'ri says I don't like this pshat because it says in Maruba that just like karka is niknas because of shtaru b'chazaka, also schirus of karka is nikna because of shtaru b'chazaka. And over there, it never said that Masir Samafteach is a way to be koine the schirus. So how did Rashi here learn that it's koine the schirus? So when you give somebody the keys, it's like you're saying to them, "Go make a kinyan on the place," like we say in Hapara, and so therefore Re says the Peshat the Hakam Asula Mafteach V'lo Heksa here. He gave him the key, but he wasn't being maksik, and anybody who has in his hand the key when 14 chal there, he has a chayav to be boyduk. So if he doesn't have the key, how can he go in and check it? So you can't have a din. So the reason learning is nothing to do with the schirus. It's to do with if you don't have the key, you can't check it. Mihu. However, if you mafkid your key of the house by some random guy, you're just giving your key for safekeeping. Acher that guy is not chayiv the nifka to do the bedika. If I just like come around to you, just give you my key, you don't have to do bedika in my house. So it's not just the how holding the key. You have to have the key, and you need to do the bedika itself. You need to be you need to be a socher in the house. You need to live in the house or want to live in the house, and therefore it's shaykh to do the bedika. But if it's not your house and you're just holding the key, so then you don't have to do any bedikas. Now the Kulvat says in here in Rashi. So he's saying the das of Rashi, it goes like what the Gros says. This is a really big chiddush here. The al chamet shel Yisrael hakol oivrin alav b'bali roa. Right. So if you have chametz in your house belonging to somebody else, you are over bali roya. So someone comes into your house and he puts chametz there. It's not yours. You're over bali roya even though you don't own it. So that's she does a grow. So therefore, the soicher would be chayiv according to that idea. Because again, you need to have like a havmin askan whatever on the on why the Gemara is saying that it's that the soicher be chayiv. So the Parsha Tosfos explain the question that even though the time is because you don't come to eat it, but here it's already chal the chiv of bedika, so therefore it's al maskir, and therefore v'sulo pakak mine. So that's why. So we're here. The Kovetz is talking about the havaminas. The havamin of Rashi is that even though he holds that the maskir should be doing it, the soicher in the havamina does it because of this idea of the gro that you're chayiv for the soicher's chayiv for bali roa even for the maskir's chametz. And in Tosfos in the havamina that since he's already it doesn't lo paka the chayiv that chals on the 14th. Epanei Yeshua here defends Rashi from Tosfos' question about the whole idea of giving over the key. So the Rashbam also holds that, I think, about in Bava Basra. Devadai Masir Pesach Lachud, for sure, just giving over the key is not. It's just saying Chezek V'Kani. But if he received the Soicher the key alone and he locked it and he opened it, then that's gonna do the whole kinyan. So here it's not just he got the key, but he locked it and unlocked it. And if so, also here the masker gave him the key. And the keilu amarlo, it's like he said to him, "Go lech kani v'kani imken." It's biyad a soicher livdok. So it's got like, since he has the key. I mean, it's a little bit like Tosfos is what Tosfos is going on about. Whoever's the key, he's the one who's able to actually do the bedika. So it's biyad a soicher livdok. After he takes the mafteach and he opens it and unlocks it, then it's his rishus. But without this, it's even without this, it's still good. Because the Masir Mafteach isn't the Gomer Kinyan, that if he wants one of them to be Chayzer, her Rishus Biyado. So the Pnei Yeshua is saying like this, that the whole idea of Chalas of the Kinyan is where you have a Kinyan and therefore one of the parties wants to be Chayzer, one of the parties wants to cancel the agreement. And therefore, the three reasons that Tosfos is talking about here, Kesef, Shtar, V'chazaka, is that if one of them wants to back out of it, he's not allowed to back out of it anymore. That's what those three things do. But he's saying here, they don't want to cancel the schirus. Since they don't want to cancel the schirus, therefore I don't need a proper kinyan. All we're talking about is who is chayiv to do the bedika, and therefore the lashon of Rashi, Shereyata, Bayit Shaloh. So already now it says Masir Sepesel who Kinyan has chirus. It's enough to have a Kinyan. But he can back out of it if he wants because it's not one of the three things. He actually make the Kinyan, but they don't want to back out of it. So therefore the bedika is the bedika. That's where the chiv the bedika. That's enough of a Kinyan of the chirus for that. So weiter. Boy mi name Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Hamaskir bais lechaveru ba'arba asar cheska bodok orein cheskos bodok. So if you're in Israel and you get a car from Hertz in the middle of on the 14th, has the car been bodok or not? Now here the Gemara says something very strange. L'may nafka mina l'shalei. Go ask him. L'may nafka mina l'shalei. Right. So Rashi says shachris here. Can you be medayik there? And what happens if it's the Laila? Is just being clear. Shachris is just a nice. It's a nice clear break that it's the 15th. Or is there a diak? So mish machzin la lahai maskir devatai bodku emesh kamutzi chachamim olo. So did he do the mitzvah or not? So lahai im bodku im lav. So just ask him if he did it or not. Now there's a bit of a problem here because why why bother asking? Is there no chazaka? Do you not have a chazaka here? If we have a chazaka in something, why do you have to ask? If something has a cheskes kosher, do you have to ask every shoichet if he checked it properly? Or that is it. We're asking. It does have a heskes kashrus, and if it has a heskes boduk, then I don't need to boduk. Why not come in there? Ask him. And we say, as you say, at least at the high l'shale. No, really, we just can't ask him. Really, we have to ask him, but he's not here to ask him. So la tirche lahai mai. So who's going to do the tircha? So the maskir is not around to ask him, and we asked to do the tircha. The Socher lived. What's the question? So if it's cheskes boduk, he doesn't have to do the tircha, and if it's not, then he does. Amar lahu Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. We have a brisa. Hakol ne'emanim al bir chometz. Afilu noshim, afilu avodim, afilu ketanim. So everybody is believed on bir chometz. Why are they believed? So leha'id ba'arba sor shebodku ba'lav emish. So they did it yesterday. So when they give edus that they did it yesterday, they're believed. Hala b'nei asahudin ninhu. So Rashi here, my time and Ne'eman. Hala b'nei asahudin ninhu. So here we have women, avodim and ketanim. So Rashi holds that anywhere, again, this isn't real edus. They're not coming to Beis Din and saying we saw something happen, or we saw the moon, or we saw someone kill somebody. They're saying that this house is boduk. And Rashi is saying that it's a chelik of edus, and therefore here that the women are not believed in edus. They have no chelik in edus whatsoever. Lav mishum de lav amira didehu nami masikin la boduk devadai lo avid ze al divrei chachamim. Sure, they didn't do it because of the chachamim. Filu hu amaaretz l'shar devarim chaver hu le'inin bodkin dachachol's reason. So then the Gemara continues. Lav mishum, is it not because that there is a chazak boduk? So because we hold that everyone is a chaver etzel bedikas chametz. So Haitana holds that even an am haaretz, and it's something that he's mokzak a chaver, we say that in shelo yav zamra ad sheyasanu. That so a chaver would be like a he's one of the clan. He's called Haredi. So somebody who gets he's a kosher phone and he has a stamp saying I'm a kosher Jew. So these type of people. So therefore they have like a chazaka that once the time passes, it won't come out like they are. So the Gemara is saying here that everybody has this idea that they're like a chaver when it comes to bedikas chametz, and therefore everyone's believed, and therefore it's boduk. It has a cheskes boduk. It's basically the teretzir. It's a tiny chaver shemeis. The haniach magura malia peres. So he has a storehouse. It's full of fruits. Even that day they went in there. There's a cheskes that they're mutakim. You don't have to take. So he's dead, and you can't ask him. You have a chazaka that it's mutukan, and you can just eat them. So therefore, since the chaver is believed, so therefore these people are also believed, because this Tana holds that they're all believed. And how do you know that they're believed? Maybe it's different here because they said it. They gave edus. It's like they said this is boduk. Since they said it, that's why they're believed. But then the Gemara says, but does their Amira say anything? Again, that goes like Rashi saying that they have no level of aid. When they say something, they have no koyach of ne'emonos b'chlal. Anything a woman says, so then she's not believed. So mamasha itbe elamai chazaktu bozuk. So what do you want to say that the chazaka that is bozuk haya kol ne'emonim? It says hakol ne'emonim al bir chometz. Okay, now that would mean that they have a level of believability when they say something that they're believed. But that's not true. It's because it's called labotim becheskes bodkin ba'arba aser mi boile. That if every house, this is kind of the nature, if every house has a cheskes of boduk, so then they basically have a migu deshasik. Since they have a migu deshasik, so then they never said anything. Therefore, when they say that it is boduk, so they're believed. That's not called that they're believed. That's called that the cheskes of the house being boduk creates they don't have to say anything and the house is boduk. It's not that we don't know and then they say something and then it comes and it gives it. So therefore we can't learn that the chazaka is that it's boduk, because if it was, it should have said kol habatim b'cheskas batim on the 14th, but it says a kol ne'emanim. Since it says a kol ne'emanim, so then it's because they have a level of believability. So elamai mishom amira dahani. So you want to say it's because they said it. So then if they didn't say it, then no, it's not boduk. We don't believe them. Therefore, we learn that. So we should learn that the chazak isn't boduk. Therefore, they need to say something if they never said anything. Therefore, it's not. It's really boduk, and therefore, but here we have a special case because that specific house we have a chazaka that is not boduk, but every other house it is boduk. Why? The kamri hani, but the law boduk. Basically, we saw that the guy wasn't around, or he wasn't. We knew the guy was out of town. The Baal Abayis was out of town, or he was busy all day. He was out all night. He was giving birth. He went to the hospital. So we know that this house, that there was no one in the house on the 14th. So because of that, the specific house didn't have a bedika, but kamri hani, but kinu. And these people, the women, the Eved and the Cotton said that we checked it. Why would you think that? Don't believe them, the Rabbanan, because they have no Ne'emanis, Kamash Malan, since that the B'dikas Chametz is Rabbanan, and who, Midaraisa, B'bitl Ba'al Masagile, therefore the Rabbanan believe them with the Rabbanan. So since the whole thing is the Rabbanan, because the bittel itself is enough, so we hold that the Baal did the bittel, and therefore we only have a bedikas to Rabbanan left. And then we get into this toises, which we did before, and then this the Rashi as well, the bittel ba'alma of Tashbisu, which we have seen. So the toisves, is it not because of the chezkas is boduk? So tema, that you want to say that stam it's boduk. So what is the havamina that stam is boduk? Because if the chezk is boduk, if so, why do you need the yamira of these people at all? You don't need them to say anything. The Gemara kind of goes on to this later. Amari, Demairi could go on Shabala Bais Be'ir. The Bala was in the city, even though it has a chezkas boduk. Kaven de Isa Be'ir, since he's in the city, you need to ask him. So again, we have this issue of that you have to ask. When you have a chazaka, you have to ask. He's in the city, therefore you have to ask. And therefore, the amira of those help that we don't have to ask him. So if they never said anything, even though it has a chezkas boduk, since he's available to ask, we have to ask him. So even though you have a chazaka, you have to ask. That's what's coming out of here. If you can't ask, so you'll rely on the chazaka. But if you don't have but once you have the choice, you have the chance to mivarer, even though by the tevel we semchin on the chazaka, the chaver, and we don't need even to ask the chaver. What's the difference? That's because since he sent him the food to eat, mistama, the chaver was metakin the food, so that he's not sending some guy food that he's going to bring him to michshol. He's going to send him food that's not. But aval gave bedika afilo, even if they didn't do the bedika at all, there's not so much of a michshol. Now Toys's whole point of the bedika is that you won't come to eat it on Pesach. So here we see that Toys's is saying it's not so much of a michshol. Why is it not so much of a michshol? So chayro, it's a davar rachok that you'll come to eat the chametz on Pesach, even though it's yours. Tosis here is saying that even if you don't do the bedika, even if you find the chametz on Pesach, it's rachok that you'll actually come to eat it because it's not so much of a mechshol. But if I send you food, if I send you a burger, so then mistam it's kosher. Because if I send you a treif burger, or I send you McDonald's burger, I think they have different M's. What is it? A blue M, a yellow M is treif, and a blue M is kosher, or something like that. But if I just send you a McDonald's burger, mistama it's kosher because you're going to come to eat it and be mechshul if I sent you a treif one. But if you don't do the bedikas chametz, it's not so much of a mechshul. So therefore, you need to ask the question because you don't have this kind of proof of mechshul. So im hu be'ir. So ask him if he's around. And the maskana is that if the cheskes is boduk, all the houses and the cheskes bedikin, then we would need them in Mamela. We would know that the emir of Hani Mahani. We don't need to ask him. And we don't need to ask the women, even if he's in the city. So if we have, the maskana is if the chazaka is that it's boduk, and that all the houses have the cheskes of being boydek, then we would know that that these women help. We don't need to ask him, even if he's in the city, if they say it. So still, they need to say something in order to remove the need to ask. But if they don't say anything, so therefore we do need to ask. Also, the Re says that it's referring to, it's not boduk, that they said it wasn't boduk, but we checked it. So here's another terrace of the Re, that the Baal, like they said, it wasn't boduk, and we checked it. Because if the chazaka boduk, then they be believed. Migo de iboy shasek. So when they say it wasn't boduk, but we boduk, if it's a chazaka of bedika, then it's a pesha also a pesha hitter. But if there's a chazaka that's not boduk, so therefore, they say it wasn't boduk. Well, yeah, we believe you. It wasn't boduk because the cheskes is not being boduk. And when you say it's boduk, we don't believe you either. About Elaine Chesku Bodok and my Mehemnu, why they have no believability? And we ask if so, all the houses of the Bodok Boyd can be boiled, the Mameli, Yadin, and the Hamini Bamigo. So again, it's the same idea we saw before, that it's not that they're believed, it's that they have a migo, and that migo has nothing to do with their Nemonis. That's because of the Chazaka creates the migo of the Iboy Shosik. So we have this question of what's the story with the Cheskus Bodok. So the Magen Avram los samchinen on al chazaka. Yes, when you have, so Tosfos says you don't need to check anything that has a michshol. So you have the cheskes kosher there. So here the Magen Avram los samchinen al chazaka, where there is Ike Leverure. So anywhere that you can check it, so therefore we're not Soimach on the Chazaka. So we have all the 18 treifas. V'samchinen a Chazaka. Tahasem lo havi yelo ma'oilem cheskes treifa. So the animal has 18 treifas. We don't check all the treifas because the animal doesn't have a cheskes treifa. The animal has a cheskes kosher. When it has a cheskes kosher, so therefore we don't need to be checking for treifas. V'haka kol ha-shana haya b'cheskes chometz. The whole year, the house is full of chometz. So it's like a chazaka keneged v'cheskes boduk. So even though there's a mitzvah to be boduk, we have to ask where there is a reason to think that it's got chometz. So every house, I would say, is a cheskes chometz. So by the animal, there's no cheskes treif, it's cheskes kosher, so therefore there's never a treif, therefore we don't need to check. But we need to check where you're flipping from a cheskes chometz to cheskes boduk. Ubecheskes boduk ataba lehoitzi mi cheskes chometz. So you're changing the chazaka and you're being moitzi from the chazaka chometz into chazaka boduk. There we don't soimech on lechatchila. So again, so lechatchila because we want to ask him, do you need to shchita behema b'chai becheskes isur? So where is an animal shechted? It's aser till it's kosher. So every minachai omedis that it's this is the maklokus there. As to Rashi says that every minachai, well, it's alive. I think we saw some of this. So there the Magen Avram is holding that that where you're changing the chazaka, then you should be doing you need to ask. Also, we have there's a Magen Avram here where that's the wrong sorry. So the Ran. So lamai nafkamina. Lahach lo nafkamina. The filo nema the cheskes boduk. Go hecha de isa kaman shalinen lei. So even though you have a cheskes boduk anywhere he is, you have to go ask him. And below samchinen achazaka the holachik de efshalan labore milta mevarinen. So this is the Ran is being quite machmir here, and any chazaka, and you can be mavar, so go and mavar it. So the Shulchan Aruch, before you bless, you should look at the chute of the tzitzis if they're kosher, in order that you don't make a bracha levatala. So here the Shulchan Aruch is saying that you can't be relying on the chazaka. You have a cheskes kashrus. Yesterday your tzitzis were kosher, and today you have to check it. Why do you have to check? Why don't we stay on the chazaka? Again, so here the Magen Avram says the roiva talia b'maisa lo chashiv roiv. So when you have a roiv that's talia b'maisa, so it's not considered a roiv. The Chasam Sofer says that when you have mikol malkim hasam have a roiv mitzuin momchim, when you have shchita, most of them are momchin. The roiv b'nei adam are boidkim batehim kedin, and most people are checking bedin. The roiv adif mecheskes iser. So if you lohachi amrinan da isa adifa sheish la haroiv al chazaki, you have the roiv greater than chazaki. It doesn't help lechatchila heket deika leberure, where you can check it. Udinami haka besitzis to leka chazaka v'lo roiv tzadik levarer. So when you have a chazaka and not a roiv, that's when you need to be mivarer. But masha enkem betreif is to have a roiva kasherin. So when you have a roiv that is helping the chazaka, says the Chasam Sofer, so there you don't need to mevarer the chazaka. You have a roiv plus the chazaka, there you don't have to be mevarer the chazaka. But when you don't have the roiv with the chazaka, so then you do have to mevarer, so that the tzitzis, you don't have a, I don't know, do you have a roiv? Haka b'tzitzis leika roiv chazaka. You have rak chazaka v'lo roiv. So why don't you have a roiv kosher? So again, it could be before that their materials aren't as good as ours, and they have bigger issues. But the ikar of the Chasam Sofer is that when you have a roiv plus chazak, you don't need to check. So when you have the roiv animals are kosher, therefore you just checked it's got a cheskes kashrus. You don't need to check anything. So they hear in the Magen Avram, even though this is called the roiv tali b'maisa lo chashev roiv. So when you make the tzitzis, like I'm not sure exactly which roiv it's referring to in the in the tzitzis, that you didn't do something yesterday that got them ripped. I'm not sure exactly how it's working out with the tzitzis. You don't need to do the bdika. Oh yeah, so it brings the Rosh. The Rosh katav the nagu shelo livdoku. The oki achazaka. So the Rosh here is the Mekel, and he says you don't have to check your tzitzis. You have a chazaka. Eila shachacharad al davar Hashem yesho livdok. So this is where the charedim, the chared al davar Hashem, the charedim are going to check it, even though you don't need to check it. So why? So it says because ein soimchen al chazaka v'mak mashiacho levaro. So again, we saw this before. But if you're going to do the bedika, you won't be able to pray with the tzibur, so therefore you can just wear it without worrying about it. So there's so even though you have a chazaka, we see that chazaka is not enough. You still have to ask, and unless you have like the Chasam Sofer, that you have the roiv as well. So weiter in the Gemara, so you rent a house and that has a chazaka that is boduk. Umatzu she'ena boduk, and you find out that it's not boduk. Mahu, what's the din? Me have a mechak tos or lo? Is it mechak tos or lo? Now, when it comes to mechak tos, again, there's two types of mechak tos. Mechak tos is I sell you 50 barrels of grape juice, and you get 50 barrels of orange juice. So that's called the mechak tos, and the whole deal is unraveled. You can't keep the orange juice even if you want it, and I can't make you keep it. Obviously, if you want it and I want to sell it, so it's just a new thing on orange juice. But I can't make you keep it, and you can't keep it even if you want it. There was never a deal on 50 barrels of orange juice. If I sell you 50 barrels of grape juice and you get 48 barrels of grape juice, then there's a chal kinyan on the 48, and we're just dealing with the other two as to what happens to that. So now here, what type of mekach is there in this deal? So I'm renting a house from you. So you take a rental for a year, and you have a cheskes boduk, and then you find that it's not boduk, right? What type of mekach is that? Is that a mekach that you have to give me some money back, or you have to make me good for our deal, or the whole thing is off, like the wedding's off? So Rashi, im ba socher lachzor bo al yedei al yosov v'loimer lo kach shacharti ve'en tanai shalanu kaim mahu lachzor. So he's able to lachzor from the whole thing. He's able to get out of the deal.
Mm-hmm.
So this seems a bit bizarre in Rashi. No, what do you mean you can get out of the deal? What's the deal got to do with anything? So the Magen Avraham has a case here. Zakasha the Socher Mascir, right? The kol mum she'ena beguf hamekach minaka lo min adamim. Any mum you have that's not in the actual mekach itself. So again, if I sell you 50 wine and you get 50 orange juice, then the mum is mekach itself. I didn't sell you the wine. Umekach kayim, and you just have to make up the difference. So here the guy didn't give him the what he said he was going to give him, and it was lacking the bedika. So therefore, it should be mechakaim. Im kain matzarech kan hagemara lo denichalei b'mitzvah. So here the case in the Shulchan Aruch is that you sell a house, and then the day before the sale of the house goes through, some goyim came and bashed the house up. So then the buyer says, I don't want the house anymore. So the Pesach is that the seller just has to put in new houses and new door and fix up the damage. And it's not in the go for the mech, it's just the house and door, you fix it up. So again, so at this point, Rashi's a bit schwer is how you can get out of the whole thing. Tashema, the Amar Abaye, Lo mi boy ba asra de lo yehev agra ubodku denichele la'anshi lemukim mitzvah begufe. So for sure, it's not in the place where you don't pay somebody to do the bedika, because people for sure want to do the mitzvah in their guf. So bodki ela kol ish ve'ish does the bedika, his house, because he's not able to say it's a mechutos. Because if I had known that it wasn't boduk, then I wouldn't have rented it. Because for sure I want to do the mitzvah in my guf. If he had known that it wasn't boduk, he wouldn't have left like this. Eila, but even in a place where they give money to do the bedika, so that people are happy to do mitzvah with their moment. So Abaye is saying that basically that you can't. There's no mechak tos. Because for sure somebody wants to do a mitzvah with his guf, and even if it's not with his guf, for sure people want to spend their money on a mitzvah. So ila be'asra the nahaki kol b'nei ha'ir l'schor, that they rent people to do the bedika, everyone in his house, because now there's a chesron kiss. Even so, if he had known that yesterday that it wasn't boduk, he still wouldn't have returned on it, because he's happy to spend his money on a mitzvah. And that he's returning now is because some other reason. So Rashi's going back. Why is he saying I don't want it now? We just said that everyone wants to spend their money on a mitzvah. Why does he want it now? Oh, it's because he wants to do a different house. So therefore, there's no mechel tos. Okay. Now, firstly, this Gemara is extremely bizarre, because what does this mean? I'm saying, I want my money back, because I don't want to spend money on doing a bedika. And the Mascir says, no, you're super from, and you love spending your money on mitzvahs. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't want to spend my money on mitzvahs. No, you are. And look, Abaye says you're super from, and you spend money on mitzvahs. This is,
And what if you went on a Pesach? What if you signed up for a Pesach cruise and then they tell you they're like, "Oh wait, it's all treif." Like, good luck.
yeah.
It's gonna suck. It's like
Yeah, but there, you're not doing the mitzvah. No, there's no mitzvah there. This is in what's this Bava Metzia, Chav Tes on the base. Amar Shmuel, Sefer Torah of his friend. Don't lend it out to somebody else. So you give me your Sefer Torah. I'm not allowed to give that Sefer Torah to somebody else. I Ma'iraya Sefer Torah, even anything. Why do you give me something? I can't lend it to someone else. Why are you telling me Sefer Torah? Amar Rabbi Shimon Reish Lakish, Kashin Rebbe Ein Hashoyel Rishai Lahashil. If I borrow something from you, I can't lend it out to somebody else. If I rent it, you can't sublet. So now the Gemara says, Sefer Torah Ishrachle, Mahu Detem, what do you think? Nichelela Anchi Yisved Mitzvah B'Munei. That you give me your Sefer Torah, I would think in the Havamina that you're happy that you do the mitzvah with your money. Kamash Malan. Kamash Malan what? Kamash Malan, you don't. You're not allowed to rent it out. I have your Sefer Torah. Some guy says, "Oh, we're gonna do bar mitzvah. Let me have that Sefer Torah." And I'm like, "Oh, he'd love to do his mitzvah with his money." He said, "No, commercially, you're not allowed." So for everything else, for sure, I can't rent out your headphones to somebody else or lend it to him. But your Sefer Torah, doing a mitzvah, for sure, you want to do that. But here we're saying that this is a stira to the Gemara over there in Bava Metzia. People saying that, you want to spend all their money on a mitzvah, and over there they don't. Now Tosfos here. Maskir bais lechaver becheskes shehu bodok nearer lerashba de b'shlosha sar iri de b'arba sar al hamaskir livdok. What's going on? What's Tosfos doing here? It has to be the 13th because it was the 14th on the maskir to do the bedika. So, did you know that this was the? Now, obviously, Tosfos is going on the previous sugya, and he's saying here that it's not on the 13th because if it was on the 14th, we already know the answer to the question, and it's and therefore it's on the 14th. It's al hamaskir livdog. What does that mean? It's al hamaskir livdog. What does that mean? So pashtus is that even in the place that he gives the money to be boduk, what's going on here? It's on the maskir to do, but the soicher spent his money on it. So how do you understand Tosfos here? So Pashtus is like this: is that the taka the soicher is paying for the mitzvah. He pays 100 shekel, whatever, to the guy to come in and do the bedika. It's on the maskir to do the bedika. So what happens next?
Yeah.
Is that the soicher gets his money back from the maskir. So that here, so it's not so bad for Tosfos, because here he's not really spending his money. He's not really spending his money on a mitzvah. He's putting his money out for a mitzvah. Everyone's happy to put his money out for a mitzvah, but knowing that he's going to get it back.
So he spends his money, but he doesn't get the key until the 14th, and so now.
Tosfos is saying no, it's on the 14th.
Yeah.
Because if it was on the 14th, then the masker would have to do it. So if it's on the masker, so he get his money back. So now we have the question that's on the is on the 13th. It's on the 13th. So on the 13th, but on 13th he still gets his money back. That's the maskana of Abaye that he gets the money back from the masker.
Right. This is the money to be bodek the apartment or whatever it is, the house to buy us. Yeah, fine.
So also Tosfos, so in Rashi, the way to learn the Gemara is that the whole mitzvah he's not boydek from. Since he's happy to do the mitzvah, therefore it's not a mechak tos. He doesn't want to get out of the mechak there. So in the Magen Avram here it says the nichalei b'mitzvah halo b'chol davar hadin kain. So you're always there's never a mechak tos, says the Magen Avraham, because it's not in the goof of the thing. The yesh lamer the hasa mayri below hetna. The haka afila hitna hameka kayim. So we're going to take here in the Rashi here.
Sorry, can you go through that once more? So what was
Yeah,
the
so
Magen saying?
so the Magen Avraham saying where there's no posel in the guf of the mekach, then you can't have it's no bittul mekach. It's just you make up whatever's lost, you make it up. So if I only give you 48 barrels of wine, I either give you the money back for 2 of them, or I give you 2 extra barrels. But you can't get out of the 48. The 48's good. So here it's a good apartment. It's just who has to pay for the badika. But here he says Yeshlomer dahasa mayra below hitzna. There was no tanai, but here even if he made it a tanai, then the mechach is kaim. So here if we have a look at the Rashi, the ein tanai shalanu shalo kayim mahu lachzor. So here he says he made taka a tanai in the rental. He says I am renting from you a house on the 14th, and it bloody better be boduk. And if it's not boduk, there's no rental. Lamaisa, he made the tanai. Lamaisa, he gets the house, and it's not boduk. Still, he can't get out of the mekach because people either want to do with the guf or they want to spend the money on it. So that's a pshat in Rashi there, and definitely not pshat in Tosfos, where he didn't make the tanai, and therefore something happened. Then you just have to make it up in the money, or make it up when fix the windows. But where you have a tanai, if you say I am only taking a house that doesn't have broken doors or broken windows, and then the doors break or the windows are smashed in before you take it, then you can get out of the deal. So the chedushay haram. But in Rashi, it's not clear who pays for the who's paying for the thing. We don't know. But if it's if there's no tanai, maybe the Socher pays maybe the Mascir. So if he makes it tonight, then for sure the Mascir. It's just who's going to make it up. If there's no tonight, he has to take the mekach, and the Mascir has to pay pashtus. But
that's the difference.
But if it's a tonight, then he can get out of the mekach. So here the chedushay ram hamashkir based the chaver b'chizbolok. So if it's on the 14th, then we have we askin in la'ayol that the masker has to be boydek. The acherim kosvu, and then we have the poskin de nichele lanchi lemukte misa b'mamona. That's the Indian de lo have a mechuk tos. That's only where it's not a mechuk tos. If I come masker shlomi boy, the masker for sure has to pay. This is Tosfos. Yeah, for sure that the masker has to pay. He has to pay it. So Ani Omer says the Ran lo kedivri zeh v'lo kedivri zeh. All this is shtiut. Eila biyod dalet askinan. So again, this is that's the pashtus of the Gemara. The Gemara's pashtus is on the Yud. It's that the rent, the whole thing is going to the 4th. No, Tosfos is on the 13th. The Ran is arguing on the 14th. Sorry. Yeah, that's right. The Ran, yeah. Mistam la v'amar becheskes boduk, and it's just stam cheskes boduk v'lo boy lemichash lesfeka tibinin la'ayal masker base yudalad or chazin boduk or in cheskes boduk. We have already had this. This question. The Kamar stama, it's boduk. So therefore, you go on the 14th and stama, it's boduk. Because if it's the choskas boduk, then mitukum stama ve'i ein chazakta boduk, then it's like it says behedia maskin and lo have mechach tos. But the kakash lahu ha maskin la'ayal de ala masker livduk. That's not a kasha li klaus. This is whole Tosfos' question. So. He says it's not a kasha mitzvah because above is a shakla v'tara is a mitzvah. The mitzvah's beer, a man ramia who has the mitzvah of the beer, and we say that the mashkir has to actually do it. And here we're asking if you say that the mashkir doesn't want to do the mitzvah. Inami delise kaman le masker b'masa, so he's not here. So above we're just saying who has to do it. The masker has to do it. But now in our case, the masker won't do it, or he can't do it. And the socher lo sagi le below beer. The socher needs to have the beer because he can't have a known beer. The ha'amin la kaman the chamso shogoi oiselo machitza asara v'kem v'shekem boin. So therefore he can't not do it because someone else's chametz there is his problem as well. He has to do. He have a mechuk tos the haka lav b'mitzvahs beer askina. We're not dealing with the mitzvah ela le'inin dina. The din we're doing the shakvatari here. Maskinin de lo having mechutos, not a mechutos. Denicha leilanshi lekime mitzvah filu b'memone. V'lo matzi tavele soicher lemaskir, and the soicher can't get his money back from the Mascir. So that's the whole maclokas here between the Ran. It's on the 14th and the Tosis is on the 15th and it's on the 13th. Because Tosis says for sure you're getting your money back. You get it at a Cheskes Bodok and you can't get your money back from the Mascir. So that seems to be a bit of a stretch. That seems to be a bit of a stretch. That seems to be a bit of a stretch here in the Ran that you have to pay for it and you don't get your money back. So now in the Ran we have a stirrer between the two Gemaras. My da'apik aleisha hare lo ahani lamaskir klal. It doesn't help the maskir at all that he spends the money. The mitzvah belachudhu the ramia alei the maskir. It's only the mitzvah that he has it on. I forgot the lo avid le chiyuv the mamuna gabe. He has the chiyuv of the mamuna on the socher. So therefore, according to the Ran, we still have the issue of here we have the stirrer between the two Gemaras. So the pashut way to answer up the two Gemaras is that here in our Gemara we're talking about that people are happy to do a mitzvah with his money. So I am doing a mitzvah with my money. But here a mitzvah is being done with my money. Te'aved, the te'aved mitzvah b'mamone. That this is in the passive. A mitzvah will be done with my money. Yeah, I don't like that. But that a mitzvah will be done. I will do a mitzvah with my money. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. So where I get mitzvah points, so that I'm happy to spend my money on it, but where just mitzvah points will be done, God will get his mitzvah, but I don't. So therefore, I'm not happy to spend my money on it. That's Bava Metzia. But here in Bava in Pesach, then I'm doing the mitzvah. Since I'm doing the mitzvah, then I'm happy to spend my money.